Hello, happy people, and welcome to your Moment of Zed, the YouTube channel dedicated to the most beautiful car in the world. Pew, 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 pew. The BMW Z3, or as the folks in Salisbury call it, the Z3. I'm Mark, and today we're going to imagine that you are a person who has just bought their first Z3. You're all excited, you're all happy, you're having a great time, top down, and then something goes wrong. So you take it to the shop and you find out that they're going to charge you $125, $150, maybe more per hour to work on your brand new baby. It's a little disheartening. And you think to yourself, I think I'd like to try and do this myself. So today we are going to explore the top 5 jobs you can do on your own if you're a newbie to the world of Z3s and a newbie to the world of working on your car by yourself. As I said, labor rates are incredible. They feel a little outrageous, to tell you the truth. Now, I'm not a professional mechanic. I haven't worked in a shop, but I understand the job is difficult and it gets more difficult as time goes on. But I think for most of us, we would probably feel better if we could do a lot of the work on our own. So again, I want to explore the top 5 things you can do on your own if you're just starting out in the world of DIY car fixes, and specifically on the Z3. But before we get to all that, we have 2 Zeds of the Week. And first up, we have Dave from Dayton, Ohio, who was on the channel before with his previous 1996 1.9 liter Roadster. We featured him back in 2023. Now, he sold that and picked up a 2000 M Roadster with the S52 engine and 71,000 miles. He's the 3rd owner, and he's managed to contact the original owner who put most of the miles on the car and who also did a Dynon intake upgrade and a strut brace. Now, since Dave has had it, he's done all the fluids, the guibo, the antenna grommet, and the door handle gaskets. Nice upgrade, Dave. Next up, Xavier from Belgium, who also is a previous owner of a 1998 1.8 liter Roadster, which he had since new all the way to 2010. Here's a picture of it with his kids in the car from back in the day. Now, he had a little gap, but now he has a 1.9 liter Roadster in the same color with 88,000 kilometers. He's also the 3rd owner, surprisingly enough. He says he has a small coolant leak, but otherwise it's completely original and the car is in perfect condition. Very nice. Welcome back. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for sharing your beautiful cars. If you'd like to see your car on Zed of the Week, please follow the easy instructions in the description below. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, if you like our content, including Zed of the Week, please feel free to buy me a coffee. As Andrew, SG Marks, and our favorite Pink Roadster dad, Richard, have done recently. Thank you, gentlemen, for your support. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, please use the QR code here or link in the description. It is certainly appreciated. I always love my caffeine comrades. Anyways, on with those top 5 things you can do if you're just starting out working on your Z3. Okay, in order to save money at the shop, you're going to have to spend a little first. You're going to spend time underneath the car. You're going to need a low-profile jack. I wouldn't cheap out on these things. Even better, don't cheap out on jack stands. I would get 4. Remember, they are rated per pair, so $3,000 for this pair means $1,500 each. I would get Rhino ramps or something similar. Rhino's the biggest brand for times when you need to be underneath the car, but you don't need to put it up on jack stands. Onto tools, you're going to need some basic tools. Now, as far as tools go, best advice, buy the best tools you can afford. But remember, you're just starting out. You may not like it, so I wouldn't go too expensive. A lot of stuff on Amazon that's decent, Home Depot quality. You're going to need a good set of metric combination wrenches. You are also going to need a good socket and ratchet set. These are impact ones. You may want to go impact someday. I wouldn't start. I'd go with hand tools, but you're going to need a good set. 1/2-inch drive, 1/4-inch drive, 3/8 drive, probably all 3. You're going to need screwdrivers, a good screwdriver set that includes standard and Phillips.
You're going to need hex keys, Allen wrenches, whatever you want to call them. Now, this has both standard and metric. You only need metric on our cars, but definitely a necessity. Oil changes are going to be the first thing I talk about, and you're going to need a pan to catch the drips. Not very expensive and good thing to have around. You're going to need some penetrant. Sometimes those bolts and nuts don't want to come loose. I use PB Blaster, but WD-40 liquid wrench. There's a lot of good ones out there. And probably some RTV sealant seems to come in handy and is often needed. Now, as far as diagnosing what's wrong with the car, I would invest in an OBD2 reader. Medium one, I don't know about the $20 ones. This one's $70. There's a lot of them out there. I've reviewed a few of them. I would not go with the Bluetooth ones that connect to your phone. Those tend to be kind of scammy. Haven't seen a lot of people have good luck with those. First job I would do, if I were just starting out, most basic thing in the world, I would change my oil. You can get decent oil and a decent oil filter for probably about $50 or so. And right now, I think oil changes at dealers, I don't know about BMW dealers, but I know the Mazda dealer from my other car is charging over $100 right now for oil changes. So for about $50, this is going to be something that can save you some money right off the bat and make up some of that money you spent on tools. Now, there's a few ways you could do this, but I guess the most basic way is put the car up on ramps or on those jack stands and then go ahead and open up the drain plug, drain your oil into that new pan you bought, and then go from there. Now, I have videos on all these things that I'm showing pretty much, except spark plugs. Haven't done that yet on a video. But another cool thing about changing your oil for the first time yourself is you're going to start noticing that you're going to need more tools than the basics. And one of the things you'll need on this project is an oil filter wrench. Now, if you're a newbie to working on cars at all, and I think the old timers would tell you, pretty much darn near every project you do, you're going to find out some tool or some liquid or chemical or something you need that you don't have, and that's where you kind of start building your set. And this is one of those projects. It's super basic, but you're going to need this to do the the style filter that we have on our cars. Second job I would recommend you start out doing on your own is belts. Now, they don't have to be done very often, but they do have to be done. And they're very basic. Good belts, Continental's probably the most common brand I've seen people use on our cars, are pretty inexpensive. You're going to need 2 of them, assuming you have air conditioning. I think most of us do. This will also give you the opportunity to buy another tool, a breaker bar. You don't have to use a breaker bar. I suppose you could use a pipe and your regular ratchet handle, but I would invest in a breaker bar for this particular project. This is very easy. You may have to move a few things, which will get you used to the fact that on the Z3, a lot of times you have to move things out of your way to get to the things you want to work on, but a pretty easy project. Next, and something I need to do on mine, and I'll probably do a video for it soon, spark plugs. Access is great, so it's very easy to get to the parts, which if you're just starting out to work on your Z3, you'll find that not every project is necessarily that way. Many of them, we have difficult access, and you can watch my videos and find out all about that. By the way, I'm not the only person out there who makes Z3 content. I would highly suggest looking at other people's videos. Cool Cat Terry does great work, and there's some other folks out there that may not be actively doing it anymore but have videos out. I would say the only warning I would give you about spark plugs is if they haven't been out in a while, they may be rusted in there. So be careful about breaking them. Take it easy when you're taking out the spark plugs. But that is a pretty easy project. Really, if they're not stuck in there, that should only take you, probably a half an hour start to finish, whether you have a 4 or a 6-cylinder car. Next up, a little bit more involved, but it shouldn't scare you. The brakes, front or rear, both both of them, doesn't matter. Brakes are a quick and simple thing, and your life depends on it. You know the old saying, if your car won't start, you've got a problem. If your car won't stop, you've got a big problem. So I think brakes are a little bit more advanced, but nothing hard. You can do them in a morning or an afternoon, and it's a good thing to build your confidence, I would say. That was 4, by the way, we've gone through already. Project 5 is pretty specific to our cars and a very common problem, and you'll find some common problems on the Z3 that you can do yourself. Leaking A-pillars, a very easy fix. I've actually done a couple videos about it. One where I did it I didn't do it wrong, but it didn't look good, and one where I kind of corrected it so it looked better. This, along with the glove box fix, which I decided not to include, are probably 2 of our very specific problems that you can easily solve on your own.
So folks, there you have it, the top 5 things that I think you would start with if you were a newbie to the Z3 or to the world of do-it-yourself repairs in general. If you have something you think should have been added or that I missed, please feel free to put that in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And as always, if you found this content valuable, please crush that like button. And until next time, remember, friends don't let friends drive boring.